Guyana is poised to become one of the world's leading oil and gas producers, with production set to begin in early 2020. However, as preparations ramp up, how are we prepared as a nation to respond in the unlikely event of an oil spill? In this edition of InfoHub Extended, we take a look at the measures being implemented to ensure that we are prepared to respond to such an unlikely event.
Are you ready to embark on a truly epic adventure to an undiscovered corner of South America, where some of the most spectacular natural attractions are unveiled within a beautifully diverse landscape? From the wetlands and savannas to the ancient mountains, magnificent waterways and lush and enriching rainforest would provide a vast playground for some of the most exotic and breathtaking creatures on the planet, including many of the world's giant species. This untouched land of mystery and wonder serves up an exclusive experience for travelers. So are you ready for a new, awe-inspiring adventure? Welcome back to nature. Welcome to Guyana.
With first oil expected in a matter of months, Guyana continues to engage in several activities aimed at enhancing the country's response mechanism in the event of an oil spill. In a recent interview with InfoHub, Director General of the Civil Defense Commission, Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, indicated that the country's National Oil Spill Response Contingency Plan is 90% complete. Lieutenant Colonel Craig explained that the planning, drafting, and creation of the plan was all done by local agencies with some technical advice from international bodies.
We did not take the course of action where we bring an expert to develop the plan and give it to us. We decided to use our in-house experts within the country because these people understand their roles and responsibility far better than the experts. And we came together and find the time to make the sacrifice in developing a plan that's tailored to Guyana and specific to our environment.
It was noted that the plan is being adjusted using some of the components of the international operator's internal response plan. The Director General stated that procurement of the oil spill response equipment has already commenced.
We've already started the procurement of resources. There are millions of dollars of resources, approximately 4 containers of resources at our warehouse at Tamari. And we're now working with the key agencies to identify who would have some of the key resources and where it will be deployed. Because once something happens, you want to have almost immediate response. And having the resources deployed and having person trained on the resources is very essential in responding and containing and minimizing the impact of an oil spill.
Consultation on the development of the oil spill response plan commenced in 2017 with technical support from the United States Coast Guard. In February of this year, more emphasis was placed on the development of the plan, and a National Oil Spill Planning Committee was formed. The group comprised representatives from the CDC, Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, Guyana Energy Agency, Maritime Administration, Coast Guard, and the Environmental Protection Agency. Since the establishment, the team has met regularly on Tuesdays to identify key roles, responsibilities, and to craft the plan.
We're now working, making some final edits, and also developing some of the annexes. The most important part in the development of the plan, and I want to make it very clear, is going through the planning process with the key persons, because people would know what they're supposed to do by being part of the entire planning process.
Craig noted that while Guyana continues to implement prevention and response mechanisms, companies are responsible for managing offshore spills if they occur.
What's very clear is that for large spills and for spills occurring offshore, the operators They have the responsibility for managing and responding to those spills. What the government and the government agencies require to do is to ensure that this enabling environment for effective response is in place.
As part of this, the companies operating in Guyana's offshore basins are required to submit their oil spill response plans, which are tested periodically.
In August, over 100 persons participated in an emergency response training organized by ExxonMobil Guyana as part of the company's continued efforts to prepare in the unlikely event of an oil spill. The participants, drawn from ExxonMobil Guyana and several government agencies, were guided by the members of the company's regional response team. ExxonMobil Guyana production manager Mike Ryan said the training was to equip the local response team in the eventuality of an accident occurring.
We plan for the worst, right? We've designed our facilities to make sure that the oil remains where it's supposed to be, in the pipes and the tanks, but we train really hard. We practice really hard that in the unlikely event that something happens, we're ready to go.
In an invited comment at the event, the Director General of the CDC said the training complemented Guyana's national response plan.
Definitely you're able to now review your plans before something happens, because you may be missing items, you may be missing parts, and definitely the exercise would help you to put those things together. You cannot wait until you have an event then to really test your plan.
While Guyana is preparing to host exercise trade winds in 2020, Craig disclosed that the country's oil spill response plan will be tested.
With oil being on us right now, we look at also testing our national oil spill contingency plan. We will be testing various aspects before then, but we're looking to have some more comprehensive testing, utilizing the expertise of the United States Coast Guard, U.S. Southern Command, and all the military forces within the region to test our national oil spill contingency plan. So we're looking forward for that opportunity to test our plan in exercise trade winds 2020.
To ensure that Guyana is resilient in the event of an oil spill, whether it be on or offshore, the Civil Defense Commission, in collaboration with ExxonMobil, conducted an oil spill response training workshop which exposed members of the CDC's volunteer emergency response team to key aspects of oil spill response. The 3-day oil spill training event was held in May and wrapped up with members of the VERT program participating in a stimulation exercise at Splashman's Resort on the Linden-Soosdijk Highway. ExxonMobil Oil Response Advisor Thomas Tomlin was impressed with the team's response.
Well, what we're doing is we're trying to grow the capacity of the CDC and then the voluntary emergency response team. We were fortunate enough that they asked us to come in and help. And what we did is had a 2-day classroom that had incident command system, ICS training. We did some simulated exercises. One of them was how to plan the Masharmani for 2020. And then today we're going out into the field and deploying equipment. Each one of the teams, team 1 through 5, are going to train on each one of the pieces of equipment. We've got containment boom, we've got skimmers, we have shore seal boom, we have shoreline protection, and so they're going to get a good opportunity to test all of those techniques.
Craig disclosed that the oil spill response training would be a continuous element of CDC's training program.
Apart from testing some of the equipment that we would have acquired, we also able to test some of our own resources like our boats or engines and see how it fits into the operation. So it's not only the volunteers that are being tested, the staff of the Civil Defense Commission, they're also being tested as related to oil spill response. In developing the oil spill response system, it's going to be a system that's going to be progressively being elaborated. So every year, every month, we'll be working on different elements.
On September 16, stakeholders were engaged in an exercise aimed at enhancing the capacity for both Guyana and regional countries in the Southern Caribbean to support environmentally and operationally safe development of the new oil fields. The Director of the Department of Energy, Dr. Mark Bino, addressed this conference.
Dr. Bino reminded that Guyana's oil and gas industry, while still in its infancy stage, is truly an upward trajectory. He also noted that oil and gas companies are now faced with the challenge of meeting the world's expanding energy demands while minimizing the negative outside factors associated with these operations. The DOE director said while there are both international and national regulations regarding best practices, many of the risks the oil companies will face are site-specific, requiring detailed background research and precautionary measures that cannot be solved using a generalized framework.
It is within this context that the need to address these concerns that oil and gas companies must develop and inculcate a risk management system and ethos and operational practices to minimize harmful environmental impacts and incidents.
Dr. Bino said this can be achieved through placing environmental concerns into all aspects of daily operations and utilizing the most appropriate technology, which allows companies to achieve socially beneficial outcomes while avoiding potential disasters and more stringent legislation. He added that combating environmental issues through foreign and domestic legislation has been met with limited success in many jurisdictions, but tend to be most successful where environmental risks are explicitly embedded in daily operations.
A combination of international and national regulations with internal risk management approaches may prove to mitigate the negative externalities associated with oil and gas activities. While one approach has not proven to be stringent enough on its own, the combination of environmental risk management frameworks may be sufficient.
The session aimed at expanding dialogue among stakeholders when it comes to common territories with active offshore exploration and production programs.
As first oil draws nearer, the government continues to ensure that coordinated and efficient systems for assessment, response, and recovery are in place and can be activated accordingly in the event of an oil spill.
Are you ready to embark on a truly epic adventure to an undiscovered corner of South America, where some of the most spectacular natural attractions are unveiled within a beautifully diverse landscape? From the wetlands and savannas to the ancient mountains, magnificent waterways, and lush, enriching rainforest would provide a vast playground for some of the most exotic and breathtaking creatures on the planet, including many of the world's giant species. This untouched land of mystery and wonder serves up an exclusive experience for travelers. So are you ready for a new, awe-inspiring adventure? Welcome back to nature. Welcome to Guyana.